start our track sketch, the first thing we must do is download the roller coaster template on which you will be designing and building your sketch. We're going to go to my website, 7th grade problem solving and design tech, and we're going to scroll down to the bottom of the page where it says roller coaster design template and click download. Once it downloads in the bottom left corner, you're going to click on it and you should see a template that looks something like this. This is a 12 by 12 square, exactly like the one you'll be building your base on. First thing we want to do is we want to look at this from bird's eye view so we can draw the drawing as accurate as possible. So we're going to come down up to the top here and press this top, and then we'll zoom back out and zoom back in. If you zoom too far out, you come down here and press the zoom extents tool, and it'll center your drawing directly in the middle of your page. Now the drawing you're looking at has guidelines placed every 1 inch apart. We'll use these lines to ensure that we have each of our lines on a grid point so they're straight and true when we go to make our drawing. To start this, we're going to use our rectangle tool. Now we know the track must be 1 inch wide in all parts, so we know that they have to cover up each one of these squares to be true. So if I start on the top left hand corner and I drag it over, each square represents 1 inch. So if I stop here, I'm going to be at 9 inches because this will be 10, 11, and 12. Now you notice the color turned red right there, and that's good because that'll help us keep our track pieces separate. What we want to do is we want to press the paint bucket tool over here, and this will bring up a window that has the different colors that you can use to separate each piece of your track. So what we'll do from here now is we're going to take another rectangle and we're going to bring it down this way, which will give us another portion of our track. Again, we're going to want to separate the colors, so we'll come over here and get a red color or whatever color you choose, and we'll just color that portion of the track red. When we go to build our track, we know that this piece will be one piece, and then this next red piece will be another piece that we are going to be building. So you can continue along, drawing your track to the dimensions you wish to have. And as you can see here, I have my corners are boxed off. They are boxy, which you can do, but you also may want to create a corner that instead of boxy is more of a curved surface. So to make a curved surface, we can come over here to our arc tool and we can click, starting from the inside of the track, moving over 2 squares, clicking again, and then moving the mouse to the point in the center like you see here. To complete the arc, we'll start on the other side. We'll click once, we'll move over to the 3rd square, click, and drag down again. This will give us a nice arc that stays 1 inch apart the entire way. We'll take our pencil tool across it, and there's our next arc. Let's create another one right next to it, except go in the opposite direction. Start on the inside, 2 over, 1 up, over, and you can see the circle coming to life. We'll pencil this off here so that this is one solid shape. You'll notice that the inside piece here colored, and we don't want that, so we're going to click on it with our select tool. You can press the space bar, that'll give you your select tool, and just press delete, that'll take away the inner portion. Then we're going to want to color this part. If you're not sure what color you used, you can come over here and get the eyedropper tool, and the eyedropper tool will sample whatever color you click on and then insert it into the proper space. Let's bring ourselves down one more time here, and now let's say you want to go underneath your track. So in this case we'll come out, we'll come up again here, and make sure you're labeling your different sections of the track to keep yourself straight. So instead of doing this part here, I'm going to instead erase this line here, and I'm going to put a simple pencil tool like this. I'm sorry, over across here. You can Control Z to undo. And now here's one piece, here's the second piece, and we can then continue to draw our track. Now to go underneath it here, we'll draw from here to here, here to here, delete your piece inside. And you'll see that in this spot, now we have this track which is going to come underneath it. So we're going to want to continue out and continue down like this. Go back and clean it up. And to make this easier to see, what we'll do is we will use our colors once again to show which portions are which. And you'll see that this will go underneath to here. And we'll make this a little bit clearer with arrows as we come through later on. One of the last things we can do is we can also put in a circle to imitate what a loop might look like. So I'm going to come to the center of this line and just come down a little bit and drag out. You can see the radius down in the bottom right hand corner, which you could set. Right now we're at 1 9/16. So let's make that 2 inches. You can see that we just fit over here. We have a little overlap here, so we'll take our eraser tool and just erase that part out. And we didn't want this part to fill in, so we'll erase that as well. Now the track is going to fall into our circle, so we're going to want to put another circle in the middle, which will represent the funnel, which the ball is going to be going around. And we'll later show you how the circle will give direction by adding arrows into it a little bit down the road. So let's put another circle in the center here. Okay, and we're going to come around, and then we'll color the second part here red so that we know that it's a different part of the track. And then eventually we'll come out to one of the sides. So we'll have it exiting over this way on our grid points. Always work from grid points, so I'll work from these two. Then I'll come out, and then again go back and just clean up the extra lines you don't need. Alright, now we're going to put our catch basin here at the end. So our catch basin can be whatever size or shape you want. I'm just going to make a nice rectangle and color it in. And that's the basic track design. Now we also want to add measurements to the track design so we know what size all of our track pieces are when we go to build them. I'm going to take the dimension tool, click once, click twice, and move up. Shows me it's 9 inches. Now we know that the track is 1 inch, but we're just going to add it over here as well. And it's not going to be a dimension we're going to continue to add because every single track will be an inch. So unless it changes, you could just leave that one measurement there. The key to adding measurements is to add enough measurements so that you can build your drawing without adding so many that the drawing gets cluttered and you can't see, or it gets too cluttered that you get confused as to what you're doing. So I'm going to add carefully, picking and choosing carefully where I put my measurements. You want to try to get them as close to the track as possible. Here we're going to click once and twice, and you can bring it down just to there. Same thing, just to here. Not making it too complicated. Now, as you get into here, you're going to have a lot of different measurements. So for these parts, you may want to leave these out because they're actually pretty short. I mean, you could add some and tell you that this is going to be 3 and that this will be 5. But you want to stay away from too many because it'll just be too difficult to see everything when it's all said and done. We'll add one here at the bottom. And then I'm going to press my Zoom Extents tool to drag myself all the way out. Alright, now we're all set with our measurements, so the guidelines we have here we don't need to see anymore. So if we double click on this layer manager, you'll see this little window pop up. We'll open it up, and what we're going to do is we're going to hide the guidelines. So over here it says basic guidelines, and the check mark means that it's visible. Well, if we unclick that check mark, our lines go away, and the drawing is clear. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to add arrows to show us which direction we are moving in. So what I'll do is I'll start down here with my rectangle tool. Then I'll draw a simple arrow. And then I will put a peak on it, erase the excess lines, and this will show us which way we're moving. I'm also going to add a color here, but I'm at a different color this time. I'm not going to have the same color. This way it stands out. And so this is pretty straightforward. We know which way we're coming here. Down in this direction is where you're going to want to add your arrows because it's a little confusing which way it's going. So we're going to add a little bit smaller of an arrow right here. And then we are going to add again another arrow to here, to here. And color it in both spots. We'll continue to add arrows where necessary to make it nice and clear. Around, and we'll add one down this way now. We'll use the pencil tool because we're a little bit of an angle here. So if we use the pencil tool, we could show it on a little bit of an angle, making sure everything lines up. Oops. Hover on this line for a second, that'll give you the angle. And you can click it, and there you go. Again, the key is not to make too many arrows. You don't want to clutter the drawing to the point where you really can't see what's going on, but enough to give you a good idea of which direction you're moving in. So that should do it for now. Let's back out. We can see our finished sketch. Measurements on there, arrows are telling which way we go, and we're ready to export it into a picture. So to export this file to a JPEG image that we could see, we can go to File, Export, and you want to export this as a two-dimensional graphic. And you could just name it Roller Coaster Layout, and you'll just say Group 1, 2, or whatever group you may be, and save it into your Google Drive. That will enable you to take a picture, print it out, and use it for your drawing. And that will conclude this part of the design template practice sketch.